I live in Detroit, Michigan, and just like any other people that live here, I need to come up with $4,000 per month in order to pay for just all my basic necessities and what I need to pay for and able to live and survive. My rent is $1,700 a month. Groceries for me and my entire family is $600 per month. My utilities in total is $300 per month. I have to pay for our car insurance, I have to pay for health insurance, I have to pay for all our hygiene products and basic necessities. Even when you have a decent job, you still have to take on a second job and work yourself to the bone in order to survive and provide for your family, which is actually just insane. How have prices gone this high? Especially in an area that people consider cheap, this is not cheap living.
At the store yesterday, I spent $336.88 on basics, on absolute necessities. And we're going to talk about it because that was our entire grocery budget for the month. I try and do $150 to $180, $180 on the high end every 2 weeks. We try and eat as healthy as we can. And I know that that is a very generous budget. And I did that in one trip with coupons. I saved $71.36 using coupons. Some things that stuck out to me yesterday, and I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee, for anyone who is not here. Chicken was like $5.50 a pound. What? Sodas of any kind, $11.39. What a random number, first of all. $11.39. Milk was $3.50. I don't even want to talk about eggs. And I'm going with like baseline stuff, y'all. I'm not buying name brand. The things that we were out of yesterday that cost so much money are as follows. We were out of garbage bags. We were out of laundry detergent. We were out of dish detergent. We were out of all meat. We were out of canned vegetables. I don't even buy fresh produce because it's too expensive. And that's trying to eat healthy. We don't buy sodas. The one thing I splurged on yesterday was a thing of juice because it was on sale for $3.50 from like $4.99 or something like that. So I did get that. Feminine hygiene products, allergy medication, because if you're like us here in Tennessee, we're dying from the allergies, okay? And then I went to put gas in my car, and it was $4.16 a gallon. The cost of living is so absurd. And we were trying to do things cheap. I don't buy name brand stuff. The only name brand things I buy, well, that's not true. I don't buy name brand like extras and things like that. I do buy the name brand trash bags and laundry detergent. That I do. But anytime we can go store brand, we go store brand. Milk, eggs, canned vegetables. This is just a tirade at this point for how much the cost of living is. So you bet your bottom dollar we are going to make these groceries stretch because we have no choice. I can't go find another $180. I don't have it. We spent $336. That's our budget. We've got like $27. That's not true. $24 left for groceries for the rest of the month on our high-end budget. This is insane. We do well for ourselves. We do well enough that like my bills are paid and I stocked my pantry, my fridge with the basics. So, I'm just so frustrated that this is where everything is right now. And I know I'm not the only one, but we're going to have to completely redo our entire budget for May. Let me know if that's something that you guys want to see. I'll be happy to share it. But this is insane.
Okay, hi. So a lot of people were super interested in my TikTok I posted about a week ago about growing up in Harrison, and really just the whole billboard change, how it used to say some really bad stuff, not very inclusive, like just really bad. So a lot of people were wondering my experience growing up there because I usually always talk about growing up in Harrison and kind of what that experience looked like for me, but never on TikTok. So I thought I would do a story time about growing up in Harrison, Arkansas, also known as the most racist city in America. So kind of off the bat, growing up in Harrison, it really wasn't bad. I was the only person of color in my entire graduating class. I mentioned that earlier in another video, and then my siblings and I were the only black people at one point in the entire school district. So it was definitely different. I think the earliest form of, I guess, racism or ignorance that I experienced was when I was really little at kindergarten, and I had an older man come up to me at a park, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him I'm from Harrison, and then he said, no, but where are you really from? And so I think that was the earliest form of ignorance and racism I experienced, growing up in Harrison, and I didn't really think anything of it then, but then after growing up and kind of realizing what microaggression is and what that looks like, I think that was my kind of earliest form of racism. But growing up, my friends were amazing. They were fabulous. There, of course, were instances where people would say the N-word, where people would say something like really bad, super offensive, and they would say, "Oh, no offense." I think just because they live in a town where there's only surrounded by people who look like them or people who think like them, so I definitely experienced that growing up. But like, to be honest, the entire town is really sweet and really cool, and they've changed a lot. Like, they do so much. The diversity and inclusion committee, the city council, the mayor, and they do so much stuff to kind of get rid of that bad reputation that was there. But of course, there are, racist people in Harrison just like there are in a lot of the towns. But then I also think by being the only person of color in my whole class, which I'm biracial, so I'm half black and half white, and I do have lighter skin, but being the only person there who had any kind of dark skin, or any kind of melanin in my skin, people definitely knew I was different and kind of treated me differently, especially during Black History Month. That was always really awkward, to kind of start out with, but I think that's just a little bit about it. And I'm running out of time, but I'll touch more on it as more stories pop in my head, but yeah.
Y'all know how people be calling people broke? Do y'all ever think about the fact, be like, we don't live in the same state. You might live in one state, right? For example, you might live in Florida. They don't charge y'all taxes to where you got all this extra money left over, right? Compared to a person that like me, I live in Michigan. Cost of living high as fuck. Cost of living is high as fuck, y'all. And y'all, these jobs is not paying us enough to like cover your cost of living. To where you always living paycheck to paycheck. That shit is hard as fuck. So I don't never like, when people be online be like, oh yeah, y'all broke, you this and you that, and you don't even know the people from a can of paint, you would never know. Because let's say, if you call that person broke, let's put you in their state. Let's put you in over there where they at and see if you will survive. And that's why I don't try to talk about nobody, because like, bitch, I know how this shit can get. This shit not easy as people make it seem. Like on the internet, people make this shit seem so easy. But in real life, y'all, and people, we really got real life bills and real life problems. That shit is not what people make it seem. The cost of living, y'all, if you live in Michigan, you know. The cost of living high as fuck. It is like, bitch. And then they want you to make 3 times the rent, y'all. These jobs is not paying you that shit. I work in the warehouse, y'all. And most times, if you know, you know. If you want some quick money that get paid every week, you go to a warehouse. I'm at a warehouse right now, y'all. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck because it's like they're not paying you enough to cover what these people is charging you.
Yeah, it's a really sad thing here. You know, we have a generation that is right now trying to survive in the US, and they're doing it at a time that it is so difficult with the rising costs. I really do feel for the younger generation and even for the older generation. I mean, you're hearing the stories here that it's just so difficult right now. You go and do a few things and it's like your bank account is empty, and that is the reality. Money goes by so quickly, and the reason why is because, primarily in my opinion, wages have not kept up here in the US. That's a fact. And also the cost of everything has gone up so dramatically that right now it's just not lining up. It's really, really, really difficult to make ends meet. And you do have to start learning to do with less. Take out the luxuries in life, take out the unnecessary vacations, the unnecessary spending, take out the wants, and really just focus on the needs. And even just by getting the needs, purchasing the needs, taking care of your needs, even that really starts to draw people broke. And I'm seeing more and more that people are having a harder time to cope with this because it's getting too stressful. And even though this has been going on for years now, and if the pot continues to boil, I really believe things are just going to get a lot worse because people are already living on the edge, and you already can not afford something extra to happen or something extra to come up without just kind of going in the hole. So that's why I've been a proponent of just living as minimally as possible for years now, being as debt-free as possible and living frugally, because look at where we are today. Look at what's going on in the world.
What am I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job, I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our asses off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
Yeah, definitely know what it feels like to have the weekend come around and then feel bad to want to do something fun, because the cost of doing things, you know, can be expensive as well. And then so it's like, well, you start to feel guilty about that. But here's the thing. I have found that during those times, the best things to do is try to do free activities. So at the very least, going on walks, going on a bike ride. If you have a bicycle, you can go out and maybe find somewhere that has dollar ice creams or something like that. Something that's very, very affordable. Go to the park, take a board game to the park, take a basketball to the park. You just have to look for free activities. And if you're near a city or you live in a city, usually there's going to be some type of free entertainment on the weekends, especially now as the weather's getting warmer. So it's, you know, it's a little bit different, but it is definitely possible. And even reading, you know, and I know you want to have sometimes like a little bit more of an exciting weekend. So I just really encourage people to think outside of the box and try and find some very affordable or find free things to do on the weekend, and just have hope and encouragement that this too will pass. You know, this is a season right now. This is not going to be my life forever. You know, if you're having to really find yourself sacrificing and trying to save money, just encourage yourself and remember that you're doing this for a reason, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that we will be able to make it and get on the other side. And any money that you're saving or anything that you are withholding from yourself in the moment, just know that it's for a purpose, and you are choosing to be frugal with your funds because later on, you know, you want to see yourself in a different position later on, or you want to be able to have money for other things. So I know it's really, really tough, but comment down below your thoughts. What are your thoughts right now on just the affordability crisis here in the United States in terms of food, housing, utilities, the low wages, just everything that's going on.
Y'all, I just went today and got my driver's license renewed, my car tags renewed, picked up 2 prescriptions, and got a few groceries. To say that I'm completely broke now is an understatement. So I'm going to have to go home and start selling off my furniture to be able to live the rest of the month. I mean, that's just, it's unbelievable. And my heart hurts today. Truly hurts for people who are not able. And we're living in some rough times, really rough times. And we need to be praying for all those around us who are not as fortunate as we are to be able to do the things that we need to do. I'm not talking about extras. I'm not talking about going on vacation and doing fun things. I'm talking about living, taking care of your vehicle if you can even afford a vehicle, putting groceries on the table, buying medicine, the things you have to do. It's sad. It's very sad.
Honestly, how are people doing it? Like, everything's going up, food shop, bills. We're in the summer holidays now and they are costing an absolute fortune. Like, honestly, that's why I am so glad that I started this 14 weeks ago, because it's eased that a little. And it's been the best decision that I've made this year, to be honest. So if you are feeling the pressure, then you're definitely not alone. We've got loads of NHS staff in this, which is absolutely ridiculous that they have to look for an extra income, but that's life now, isn't it? So if you are looking to ease the pressure of bills and everything else that comes along with it, then send me a wee message and I will get back to you.
Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews and still nothing. Like, what the f is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
You guys, oh my God, watch this.
So let me chime in on how people are making it right now in America with inflation at an all-time high. People that are making $35 an hour, $40 an hour are still broke. So you wonder, am I the only one feeling this? I know you guys are driving around in your city, seeing people still at the grocery stores, still in the fast food lines, still acting as everything is normal. But there's one thing that, if you haven't noticed, people are not using their money to survive right now. They're using credit cards. And if you look at America's credit card usage right now, it is at an all-time high. Most families are already maxed out. And I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to send everything into let's say a bad spot. They're not going to pay these credit cards back. They're spending knowing that they're not going to pay these credit cards back. And so now that these people's credit cards are maxed out and credit companies are no longer giving them money to survive and buy their food, because we don't have any help in our food. If you make money like I make money, you go to that grocery store, or your wife goes, because I haven't been in that grocery store and I don't know how long. This is crazy.
Bro, the cost of living is insane right now. Like, what are we doing? I swear before COVID, in my area, $20 an hour was like, you balling, you good. Now, people that making $20 an hour, I'm like, man, how are they surviving? Like, this is insane. Fast food places are paying $20 an hour now. So $20 an hour is the new $10 an hour. Obviously, all of this is relative to where you live. So my $20 an hour where I live in Northern Virginia may be your $16 an hour, or maybe your $30 an hour. It all really depends on where you live. Like, I can't be the only one that sees this stuff. Like, I can't be the only one that understands what's going on. And it honestly worries me that there's some people out there that make less than that. Like, think about the people out there that's making minimum wage. Like, probably have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make up for, you know, a livable income. It's insane.
We need to be more honest about the current state of this economy and the job market, because not enough of us are actually sharing the truth. I'm going to tag the creator who inspired me to even share my point of view on the topic as Casanova Brown. So go to his page and watch his video, because he shares a really honest perspective about this topic. And what he essentially was saying is that the current state of the job market is essentially manufactured. Like, this whole thing around job scarcity, and you know, so many people in the job market can't find jobs. Like, they're going 6 months, 1 month, 2 years, you know, just a really long time, longer than usual, that people are going without a job. The person that you know always say with a job, they ain't got one. You know what I mean? So that's where you know it's a problem. And based on what I can see, I can tell you a few things, and I think I'm going to give you 3 main points. And the first one's going to be this: I agree with the job scarcity is manufactured. And the reason why is because I believe that, and this is my opinion only, I believe that there is a force that a lot of these organizations, corporations, are forcing people into the job market, creating less full-time positions, but creating more contract work. And the reason why is because full-time employees are expensive. So working for a US-based employer, and you are a US-based worker, you have to understand, right? Inflation is crazy right now, and it has been for a while. So that means it's going to cost more. We're going to ask for more. We're going to request more. And in good faith, an organization has to at least give you a merit increase like every year, right? So when you forego hiring full-time employees and you move into a contract type situation, that's less that they have to pay in benefits. That's less liability for them as well, because there are certain laws, labor laws, like that they don't have to necessarily like worry about. And so I think that they're essentially just forcing many of us into a situation where, you know what? Yeah, we're going to create this manufactured job scarcity so that you don't find a full-time role, and you have to go back into the workforce as a contractor, so that way we can get the same work for less. Now, the second thing that I will say, and what I'm noticing, is that a lot of organizations, this used to only really see this in customer service based type of organizations or departments, right? You have BPOs. This means that organizations are outsourcing the work. So when you call AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever on the phone, you get somebody who may be overseas, right? This doesn't mean that they can't do the job just as well as someone who is based in the US. But what it means is, again, instead of hiring 10 full-time employees for their contact center, they're hiring 50 for half the price of those 10. Okay, so they can hire literally like 20, 100 contract workers for like $2,000 overseas. In the US, that's $200,000, right? So they're looking at it from the perspective of, yeah, like we still need labor. So don't be fooled. These companies are still hiring, right? They're just not hiring they're not hiring full-time employees. They're hiring contractors. And the same, like the rules that would apply to hiring a full-time employee don't apply to a contract worker. That's my 2 cents. And I'm hoping that eventually this is something that we can sound the alarm on, because if they're not hiring us, like, what do we do? What do we do?
Living in America is freaking ridiculous right now. 2 to 3 grand on average. You need to make 2 to 3 times that. $9,000 a month. How many people with regular bachelor degrees are even making that? No one. Not a lot of people. No one wants to live with roommates. That's not the answer. Everybody deserves a safe and clean space. There's no reason why so many people should be roommating, or you can't even buy yourself your own house. it's not, this is horrible.
I'm just mad. I'm just mad anymore. There's no reason for me to be like, yay, America, like we're so great, we're so free, we're so powerful. I'm starving. I have to go without so that my kid can maybe have Pop-Tarts once a month. Shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to go like, let's see, we haven't had meat in a long time, because guess what? We can't afford it, okay? But yet we're the ones working every day to make this country go round and round. But we're not worth being able to have decent food, or the amount of food that we need to have one of our family members go without. I'm done. I'm so done. It shouldn't be this way. And I know that it's not just this way for me.
And I completely agree. $20 an hour used to really feel like it went far, but recently it's not the same anymore. $20 an hour still sounds good, but then when you look at the cost of everything, that it doesn't really do much anymore. You need to have more money coming in. You need to have the extra income, whether there's someone else bringing in income, or you need to have a side hustle, another job. But it just really goes to show you that if you're not already looking at ways to downsize, ways to be more frugal, then I think it's just gonna, potentially hurt you in the long run, because prices are only going up. And yeah, hopefully there's going to be change in the country coming up, but in the meantime, you can immediately control what you're spending. And, so I really recommend that people start to work on that if you haven't already, because it's getting tough out there. It's getting tough, and we have to make those tough decisions and choose to sacrifice a little bit more and have a little bit more financial preparedness.
How do y'all enjoy your weekends when you're broke? Am I the only one saying this, but like, you ever work all week, you realize you ain't got no money, then the weekend rolls around, and you think to yourself, I can't enjoy it because I got no money to do nothing. I remember in the summertime, one time I was like, getting ready to go get gas to mow my lawn, and I realized I was broke and had to like take money off my overdraft, my checking account, just to buy fuel for my lawnmower. But I'm like, I just want to be able to enjoy my weekend and feel like I got a few extra dollars, or like when I'm mowing my lawn, I want to take pride in that. But I can't explain the feeling that you get when you're broke on a weekend. You just almost feel guilty for enjoying yourself.
Having watched all of those reaction clips, I think it's easy to understand why so many people are talking about the rising cost of living in America. The stories we have seen shows people struggling with higher housing costs, grocery utility, healthcare, and other everyday expenses, leaving some feelings overwhelming or discouraged. Why everyone experiences is different. These claims remind us that financial pressure is affecting many households in real way. For me, this isn't just about money, it's about how economic challenges can impact people's hope and quality of life. I would love to hear your thoughts after you have watched those clips. Do you think the cost of living has become one of America's biggest challenges today? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going and respect.